なんだよ、ロノウェイ。
That moment when again I searched my memory for where did we leave off? Hey Chidorin, how's it going? We were at the end of the scene, I remember that.
拍子抜けでつまらぬぞ。
Ah, okay. Ronoe showed kindness to Genji. I am on track now. Alright. Aw. Hey Ben, thanks for the hydration. I do have water with me. There we go. You have successfully watered your streamer. Aw. Yes, it's red. It's red. I felt like doing my nails red this week, so I kind of like did something that matched today.
お嬢様は偉大なる大魔女ではございませんか。この程度、気に留めるほどにもございませんよ。シャノンごときの挑発で頭に血を上らせるなど、らしくもない。
Yeah, it's interesting how Shannon can get under her skin. Very interesting. What was there that Beatrice didn't like? Was she still unable to remove the thorn of Shannon's words? Ronoe laughed lightly as though lamenting the complexity of the human and the female heart and ordered the seven sisters to go. With a bow as well, yes. After all, there were still 2 sacrifices left for the first twilight. The seven sisters cavorted as they disappeared. Cavorted? I don't know that word. Goda was doing the nighttime rounds. There had never been anything on Rokkenjima outside the Ushiromiya family, so checking that the doors and windows were all closed had no real purpose. You'd think. However, ever since Natsuki had scolded them saying that this was careless, the nighttime rounds had become part of the servants' daily routine. The reason that Natsuki had ordered this was the occasional disturbances of the witch. When people cavort, they leap about in noisy and excited way. Ah, okay. My mind was drawing a blank because I couldn't even, like, guess what it could be. Thank you, Bea. Everyone who visited this island knew about the legend of Beatrice, the Witch of the Forest. This had become established as this island's characteristic ghost story. Because of that, it was only natural that some people would occasionally say that, when they thought they were alone in the mansion, they had heard strange sounds or seen the shadow of a person. However, when that had created a little too bit of a disturbance and reached Natsuki's ears, she had made a fuss thinking that some suspicious person might have been coming in and out. Apparently, it was said that she had roused all of the servants and had them check throughout the mansion. Because all of this uproar over the witch had happened before Goda had come, he had only heard about it from the more senior servants. Ghost stories like that could be found in any workplace. Even at the hotel Goda had once worked at, and at the restaurant, there was never a shortage of those types of story. So when he heard that story on this island, he smiled bitterly thinking, so they have that kind of thing here after all. He smiled bitterly, but he thought when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and had not slighted that. Goda went along with it on the outside, but in his heart he thought it was a childish trick. At first.
これは確かに不気味ですね。なるほど。過去の使用人たちがいろいろと騒ぎたくなる気持ちもわかるものです。
He could understand that if someone, doing the rounds on an eerie night like this, saw a lace curtain waving in the breeze from a window which hadn't been closed, they might be tempted to believe they had seen a ghost.
肖像画の魔女をバカにするとたたりがあるか。大怪我をして辞めた使用人もいるらしいし。怪我は勘弁だな。俺もこの年だ。 二度とこんな厚遇の職場には恵まれねえだろうよ。ああ、肖像画の魔女様、真面目に働きますんで、一つ穏便に頼みます。
About that. Goda prayed to the portrait, his hands together as though he was at a Shinto shrine. At that time, he thought he heard a sound. The kitchen was that the sound of something metal falling on the floor. Surely a mouse or a cockroach hadn't come out and knocked over some of the dishes. What kind of cockroaches do you have that could knock over a dish? Like, I don't want to imagine that. Don't answer that. I don't want to know. No, how could that be? It was routinely and thoroughly cleaned. Gora thought that in any case he had better check what the noise had been and entered the kitchen. He turned on the kitchen light. When he did, he heard a strange sound. Goda in imminent danger. Hey, Bancho. How's it going? To a cook like Goda, that sound seemed like the lid on the pressure cooker or something was shaking. Of course, it couldn't be in use when no one was in the kitchen. If someone had been using the gas, what a dangerous thing to do to just walk away from it. Just in case, Goda decided to inspect the area around the gas range. When he did, in the corner by the gas range, the pressure cooker really had been placed there, just as he had thought. But the flame wasn't on, and yet the lid was clanking. Was something fermenting and leaking gas? How could that be? Then was there a mouse or something inside? How could there be? Ridiculous. In front of people, Gora acted as though he had a bold personality fitting for his build, but he actually had an unexpectedly timid side to him. He was terrified to find out what might be inside, and he couldn't check it carelessly. In his cowardice, he grabbed a nearby wooden pestle, and with a clunk, tapped it a little strongly against the side of the pressure cooker. When he did, the clanking sound suddenly stopped. He should have been relieved now that it had stopped, but the fact that it had stopped when he had hit it was even more eerie and made him even more suspicious about what was inside.
Mm-hmm. この世に怪奇現象なんて存在しませんとも。そんな魔女も魔法もそんなもの存在するわけがない。すべての現象は科学的に説明できるんです。お化けも魔女もいてたまるもんですか。
He repeated that many times, trying to build up his own confidence. It was quite comical how he looked completely different from what he was saying.
何が魔女だ。何が魔法だ。たたりだ。そら。正体を見せてみろ。そら。
He removed the lid of the pressure cooker. And lying exposed there was the sparkling clean silver bottom of the pot. There was absolutely nothing frightening like he had imagined. Mm-hmm.
そりゃ当然です。中に何もいるわけがない。
By now, Gora realized that he had been a coward. So while he still had some doubts about what had caused the lid to make that sound, he explained it away abstractly as some quirk of positioning or something and decided not to worry about it too much. Then he took the lid he had grabbed and softly set it back down where it had been. It's alright, there won't be a sound. Yeah, I would wager yes. Obviously. As if witches or magic could exist. Clank. Clank, 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 clank. Okay, yeah, you get the idea. All of the pots and utensils in the kitchen started clanking at once. And it grew stronger still until finally it became so strong that the lid to one of the pots fell off. And from inside the pot, a slender white arm slowly stretched out. Oh god, this is creepy. The lid fell off another pot and another hand slowly stretched out. And another. and another.
魔女なんかいるもんか、信じるもんか。
When the number of arms grew to 7, a loud, shrill laughter split the air.
かっかり。これほどの美味しいお料理を作れる人がこんな小物なんて本当にがっかり。あんたいらないんなら私がもらうわ。いっただき。ちょっとダメだってば。私がもらうんだから。
いや
Come on, let's search. There's only one more. That old hag. Where is she? Not the mansion, maybe the guest house? You snooze, you lose, right? You snooze, you lose, right? Come on, search, search. Find her. Don't get noticed by the relatives in the dining hall. Don't get noticed by the kids in the guest house. Search in silence, kill in silence. After all, it's just the first twilight. She isn't in the guest house, but she wasn't in the mansion either? Hey, I found her, she's in the rose garden. Why is she standing around there without an umbrella? She's given herself up, all mine, all mine, all mine. You slowpokes can't just sit there and watch. I told you, no, this one's mine. Come on, if we take any longer, we'll be scolded by Beatrice-sama. Let's take care of it all at once. Come on, found her, surrounded her, sorry. Come on, let's get along and do it all at once, okay?
Oh, やんちゃなお嬢さんたちだこと。あの子のお友達かしら。
何こいつ、ババアのくせに。何かの間違いよ。もう一度。こいつ、どうして私たちを防げるの？
They didn't know Kumasawa was secret boss tier. Holy mackerel of God! I am very pleasantly surprised. I'm enjoying this.
何度やっても無駄だ。この個人、できる。
私はあの子を待っているのです。どうか呼んできてはくれませんか？
そのようなデッチ暴行、私たちがすると思う？
その必要はない。
ベアトリーチェ様。
私が権限するほどでございます。必ずやお目覚めと思いました。
ロノウェイ、久しぶりですね。本当に久しぶりです。
こいつ、ロノウェ様を呼びつけに。
そしてあなたもお久しぶりですね、ベアトリーチェ。
こいつ、ベアトリーチェ様までも呼びつけに。
よい。そのお方をどなたと心得るか。ベアトリーチェとは、そもそもそのお方の名。わらわはそれを受け継いだに過ぎぬ。そのお方こそは、 わらわの師匠、先代ベアトリーチェ教だ。
先代ベアトリーチェ教。
Wow, alright. Gold butterflies appeared in ones and twos from the Garden of Roses and began to gather around Kumasawa. And after becoming a golden radiance and enveloping her, they burst and disappeared, and Kumasawa's form was no longer there. Interesting. Instead, there was another golden witch, the one who had in the past explained to Beatrice the path of an endless witch. The only person Beatrice had called master in her entire life. Her hair was long, beautiful, and vividly youthful, and her figure in that elegant dress was unrecognizable as an old lady. No, this looked like a completely different person than Kumasawa.
これはお師匠様。再びお会いできる日が訪れるとは夢にも思いませんでした。
ええ、私もですよ。よもやまた眠りを妨げられるとは夢にも思いませんでした。
まったく厄介なところでお目覚めになられる。いつもの通りお休みであられたなら、第一の晩を何も手こずることなく終えられるのに。いや、むしろ歓迎すべきですかな。少々退屈しておりましたところで。
相変わらず悪趣味な遊びで罪もない人々をもてあそんでいるようですね。無限の魔女の力は決して人に迷惑をかけることに使ってはならないと何度も教えたはずですよ。
I think she has done way beyond just causing trouble. But okay.
そう言うなよ、お師匠様。退屈は私たちの天敵じゃありませんか。それから逃れるためのちょっとしたスパイスに過ぎませんよ。侵食が進めば進むほどにわらわの力は強くなり、わらわの眷属は呼び出しやすくなる。しかしそれは同時にお師匠様の封印を解くことにもつながったとはな。
それを予見していたからこそ、私はこうしてあなたのすぐ近くで眠りについたのですよ。願わくば二度と起こされぬことを夢見ながら、こうしてあなたと再会してしまったのは私にとってはとても悲しいことです。
相変わらずお師匠様は食えないな。
炉の上、家具の子たちを下げなさい。家具は主に仕えるだけです。すべての罪は主が背負います。
かしこまりました、マダム・ベアトリーチェ。
その名はもうその子に譲りました。さあ下がりなさい、家具の娘たち。私は一度聞かぬとしても二度言います。しかし三度目は口にしませんよ。
下がりなさい、煉獄の七姉妹。巻き添いになれば塵と化しますよ。
下がれ、みんな。
Ronoe and the Seven Sisters of Purgatory retreated. After that, there was the Beatrice whose bold expression didn't falter, and the Master Beatrice who had given up that name and wore a composed smile.
さてお師匠様、久しぶりの再会にはどんなお茶のご用意が良いかな。
そうですね、ほうき星の訪れよりも久しい再会です。もてなしてもらいましょうか。粗相があるようならば我が名と無限の魔女の称号返してもらいますよ。
無限の魔女にも免許更新制度があったとはな。仰せのままにお師匠様、あなたの弟子がどれほど立派になったか、そしてとっくの昔にどれほどあなたを凌駕したか。
Oh, sorry. I cut her off. It looked like sparks exploded in the air between the two Beatrices. Just by glaring at each other, they purged all spirits from that space. Very cool. I really like her dress. Love those sleeves. As they watched, the seven sisters shivered. Because if they had retreated just 3 steps less than they had, they would already have been turned to dust by now.
さあ、いらっしゃい。ベアトリーチェ。あなたにその名を譲ったことが私の生涯でただ一度の後悔です。その過ちを今自らの手で修正しましょう。
そりゃあ違うぜ、お師匠様。わらわのただ一度の過ちはこの程度の力を学ぶのにあんたに弟子入りしちまったことだぜ。何が魔法だ、何が無限の魔女だ。こんなの気づくだけの力じゃねえかよ。それをもったいぶって偉そうによ。お前の出番はとっくに終わってんだよ、お師匠様よ。
All the effects, all at once. Both visual and audio. All you've got is a power that can be gained just by noticing. Thank you. I caught that bit, but I'm not sure what it means. Yeah, our thoughts exactly, Battler.
私の弟子が迷惑をかけていますね。
Trouble is such an euphemism.
謝ります。
あんた、熊沢のばあちゃんがどうしてこんな姉ちゃんに化けるんだ。つうか、あんた誰だよ。わけがわからねえ。これは何の特撮なんだ。俺は頭がどうにかなっちまいそうだ。
私はあの子の魔女の師匠です。かつてあの子が私を継ぐ時にその名を送ったため今は名を持ちません。
あんたがすでに言い切っちまってるが、俺はあんたの弟子のせいで大いに迷惑しているぜ。頼むから責任取って何とかしてくれ。じゃなくて俺はこんなの信じねえぞ。魔女も魔法もあるもんか。こんなめちゃくちゃバトル俺は認めねえぞ。くそったな。俺は何を信じりゃいいんだ。
あなたらしいとても短気なもてなしですね。
さすがお師匠様。この程度じゃバカバカしくてまぶたを開く気にもならないらしい。島ごとぶっ壊す気でなきゃ無理らしいぜ。さあさあおいでなさい、双剣の戦闘。
In response to Beatrice's summons, the terrific earth tremor split the rose garden, and on either side of her shoulders, 2 massive war towers sprouted and stabbed into the heavens. They stretched 100 merut tall? What is even what? And each one had over 360 ports. Is this something that's in the the tips? Yes. This word is probably related to a fictional unit of length from Noshika of the Valley of the Wind. Which seems to be about 1 meter long. Okay. Then just say 1 meter. But okay, got it. Interesting reference. Alright. They were war towers of the gods' army corps, which had not allowed the heroes of antiquity to invade their precincts, even as they banded together. As Beatrice elegantly floated in the gap between the massive two-headed towers, she looked down on her master, sneering with an absolute superiority. With the two massive towers lined up behind her shoulders, the witch looked very small, like a butterfly dancing between large trees.
蝶に化ければ買わせるとか思うなよ。双子塔の弾幕密度じゃあんた。虫ピンの昆虫標本どころか、めった刺しの針刺し人形だぜ。
The tower's more than 720 ports opened, and godly soldiers readied their multi-shot ballistas.
それであなたの手番は終了ですか？
それが遺言かよ。ぶっ放せ
！Ballista shots numbering easily over 1,000 were all fired at once, drawing a beautiful geometric curtain of death. The boorish sound performed by those bowstrings was probably even deeper than the sound of death swinging its scythe.
さあさあおいでなさい。墜落せし塔よ。
She has a tower too?
一なる言語を恥ぜ、その罪を知らしめよ。
The sky was stained with an incandescent red, and from between the clouds, a blazing massive tower fell upside down. That massive falling tower and its rubble swallowed the thousands of ballista shots, so that not one of them could approach the body of the witch who had summoned it. Yes, none can approach the mysteries of heaven. That was the truth of the fallen tower.
さすがお師匠様。いちいちやることがでけえや。
私の手番は終わりませんよ。さあさあおいでなさい。イバルディの息子たち。我にふさわしき槍を与えたまえ。
As the massive crimson tower that had fallen made a mighty gold-colored explosion, from inside those flames a spear showed itself of such massive proportions that you had to look up to see all of it, much like a tower. It was too large for even a giant's hand. It was the divinely beautiful spear of the gods, so massive that it gave the illusion that the tower which had fallen had turned into a spear of the same size. A spear of certain victory that no one could escape.
無用の双子塔ですね。
Visual novel fights are the most fire PowerPoint presentations ever. Good one, Chidori. That's exactly what they are.
自ら左右の退路を断つとは愚かしい。一本の槍をもお前は防げない。
Mystery genre. When she snapped her fingers in command, the massive tower-like spear shot at Beatrice like a lightning bolt. As the Golden Witch danced in the gap between the towers like a butterfly, it sliced straight through the air like a flash of lightning, aiming right for the very middle of the absolute center of her heart, with the most ultimate and extreme precision.
こんなところでグングニルが弾けるとは。やっぱりお師匠様はすげえな。はぜろ、役立たずの塔。いでよ、巨人兵の戦列よ。その盾と胸で神なる槍を防ぎきれ。
The shoulder war towers exploded in gold. They became several billion gold butterflies. Those butterflies took the shape of 7 massive armored soldiers. Each stretched a full 50 merut into the sky, and they lined up in front of Beatrice, protecting their master and holding massive shields which towered like windmills. Their massive size was evocative of a mountain range. The witch hiding behind them was like a small moon hiding behind the mountains. Once in the past, when the massive shields these giants held had been readied by the whole giants' regiment, they had protected King Wilhelm's castle not only from arrows but from the wind and the rain. And when they had faced upwards and held their shields to the heavens, not a single raindrop had gotten through. You were right.
神聖への敬いを忘れた魔女の哀れなことです。神の槍を巨人ごときで防げるとお思いですか？
道理ですね。人間の金属でいくら武装しようとも神の槍は防げません。マダムの見事なエポレットメイトです。
エポレットメイト。
そんな、ベアトリーチェ様。
もちろん忘れませんとも、お師匠様。
I thought this episode was supposed to not be as crazy. I thought it was supposed to be like chiller, like in the middle, in between the human world and the fantasy world, making you doubt which it is. But I don't know what to do about this. I don't know what to do with this.
さあさあおいでなさい、ヘパイストスと弟子たち。我にふさわしき盾を与えたまえ。
A golden whirlwind arose at the feet of the giant soldiers. It was a group of countless butterflies. They attached themselves to the massive shields like gold leaves, sparkling like they were a gold mirror. Sorry. That was the absolute defensive wall that the king of the gods gave to the goddess. The Aegis shield. When the holy spear, which left a dignified tail behind it like a comet, crashed into the mountain range of that gold shield, there was a terrible thunderous roar. It was the creaking of the pillars that held up the heavens. The divine spear spun around and around, sent flying in the direction of the sunsets.
ありえない。真相を防いだ。
いいえ、違います。神なる槍が避けたのです。絶対の槍と絶対の盾は争ってはいけないのが神々の掟。それはつまり防いだのと同じことですがね。
このような荒事ばかり腕を上げましたね。
むしろお師匠様はこういうお遊びが相変わらず苦手なようで、わらわからのお返しだ。法典にのっとり、槍には槍でお返ししましょうぞ。
The giant soldier battle line, which had fully blocked the divine spear, released their holy gold shields. The shields fell to the earth, making the ground shake. And then another gold whirlwind arose, and the 7 gold shields changed their form into 7 massive spears of lightning lying on the ground. In unison, each of the giants lifted a leg high and firmly stomped on the tips of the handles. As the earth shook with a thunderous sound, the 7 lightning spears spun beautifully and flew up above the giant soldiers' heads. They covered everywhere in a spray of gold as they began to fall before the giants. Each of the giants squared off, and with the force of their whole body, they kicked and smashed them into pieces. Those broken pieces numbered exactly 30 each and became lightning spears of exactly the same size as the original, which made 210 for all 7 of them, and all of those burst at once, each splitting into 30 thorns, so there were 6,300. I'm too tired to follow the math, I will just take it for granted. Okay. They became a thundercloud barrage, drawing out a beautiful geometric pattern, and then each of those changed into 3 bolts of lightning, so that 18,900 thunderbolts shot at the predecessor Beatrice.
Yeah. さすがやりますね、マダムは。
Certainly, a bundle of almost 20,000 thunderbolts should have reduced the master's body to dust, only it did not. But there was no impact. Beatrice knew immediately that she had been fooled. At that moment, from the direction the sun was supposed to set, she felt an impossible ray of sunlight. A brilliant ray of light shone on her profile. It was the figure of the master holding aloft the spear of the gods that had supposedly been repelled a short while ago. She bore a brilliant radiance like the sun on her back and made it shine on the incarnation of darkness. Beatrice, watching from there, was strapped like a mouse in a cage, cornered in a dead end formed by the giant soldier battle line. By now, the predecessor Beatrice had seized a position directly alongside the giant soldier battle line.
これでお遊戯の時間はおしまいですよ、ベアトリーチ。
このわらわが側面を許しただと。
Her bold expression hadn't faltered once before now, but now it twisted for the first time. And faster than Beatrice could click her tongue, the predecessor Beatrice released the holy spear. In midair, it sprung up into the air once more and changed its form once again.
さあさあおいでなさい、ドベルグの兄弟たち。我に巨人を砕きし天の鉄槌を与えたまえ。
巨人兵ども、わらわを守れ。何をしているか、ノロマども。
By now it was no longer a spear, but the whirlwind of a massive hammer that raised a sound like a windstorm as it flew through the air. It was the legendary hammer that had shaken the king of the frost giants, so the giant soldiers couldn't escape from that fear. So no matter how much their master ordered them, they couldn't block the path of that
バ
hammer.
ックランクメイト、安らかに眠りなさい。
うっしょー。
Before the whirlwind of this massive chunk of metal, Beatrice was nothing more than a mere speck. The instant the whirlwind started to suck Beatrice in, Beatrice's form turned into a massive war tower. The iron hammer smashed the war tower, scattered tremendous amounts of rubble, but it did not reach she who had escaped behind it. Furthermore, when the smoke started to settle, the war tower had sucked in the massive iron hammer without crumbling and blocked the way. Even the giant smashing iron hammer couldn't break through the final tower protecting the witch. However, this war tower was in fact the witch's last trump card. It was a war tower for dodging that could only save her from danger once. But this tower was impregnable. No weapon could break through it. Just then, the moon disappeared. As Beatrice hid in the shadow of the giant soldier battle line and the war tower, she looked up at the sky. When she did, inside the moon was the figure of a massive horse ridden by the god of war and death. The predecessor Beatrice rode the horse with him. His cloak had blocked the moon and swallowed it in an eerie shadow, and the spear of the gods was in his hand once more. It was, in other words, a godly knight who had jumped over the ramparts formed by the giant soldiers and the war tower, attacking from the heavens.
Yarareta.
スマザードメイト、楽しかったですよ、ベアトリーチェ。
The struggle to the death between the two witches with the same name was resolved. The spear that had been launched from the heavens pierced the ground. The giant soldier battle line and the war tower split up into countless gold butterflies, shrouding the area in a golden storm. Then the sound of thunder, and the sound of the falling rain and wind. Suddenly that place was the empty rose garden once more. The butler and the rest were watching the two witches confronting each other, but only Beatrice was different. She had been pierced straight through by the spear from the base of her neck and her right shoulder to her left buttock. Okay, thank you for that image. Unable to even reach the ground with her feet, horribly exposed like a pitiful pinned butterfly, tormented by the wind and rain.
ベアトリーチェ様。
さすが恐ろしいお方です。
これで決着です、ベアトリーチェ。
Oh, sorry. I was too fast with the click. Let's hear it. It does sound very painful. Beatrice wore a bitter smile of false courage, but a strand of blood dangled from her mouth, making her look even more
無限の
beautiful.
魔女の称号と力、そしてベアトリーチェの名を今こそ返してもらいましょう。無限の魔女を語るにはお前は未熟が過ぎます。
やめて、許しておくれよ、お嬢様。ちょっとふざけただけじゃねえかよ。
あなたから我が名を奪います。元の姿に戻してあげましょう。過ぎたる力を手放し、己にふさわしい生を全うするがよいでしょう。さあさあ、思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。
The predecessor Beatrice began to recite the words of power. When she did, small gold butterflies gathered around the skewered Beatrice and began to swarm about her. Like butterflies sucking the nectar out of flowers, they began to suck the magical power out of Beatrice, and it seemed that it caused her intense pain. A cry of agony escaped from Beatrice's mouth. She no longer had any power to resist it.
さあさあ、目を閉じてごらんなさい。思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。さあ、ベアトリーチェ、あなたも私と一緒に復唱なさい。一緒にお歌を歌いましょう。そうすればすぐに終わりますよ。あなたの苦痛が少しでも早く終わります。
そうだな、お塩様と一緒にお歌を歌うなんてどれくらいぶりかな。
さあ一緒に、さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。
さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。
I have no idea what is coming.
あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。
I feel like I should brace myself or something. When the two of them began to recite the same chant, more and more gold butterflies danced around, swarming around Beatrice.
大丈夫ですよ、お嬢様。あなたは私の弟子であることを失いますが、私の仕えるお嬢様であることに変わりはありません。そうしたらまた一緒にご本を読んで差し上げましょう。リンゴのパイを焼いて差し上げましょう。昔のように。さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。
ああ、思い出してごらんなさい。そろそろ思い出せてきたかな。なあ、お師匠様。 あんたの後ろにあるそれ思い出したかな？
何ですか？これは。
When the predecessor Beatrice looked behind her, there was a creepy hedgehog crouching there. No, it was herself. There was another predecessor Beatrice whose whole body was packed with ballista shots, lying there like a pincushion doll.
さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。
Sonic. Oh, punch.
あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか違うか。さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどうやって殺されたのか。
The predecessor Beatrice was shocked. Instantly her form began to grow faint. I am so
これは
confused.
いつの間に。
最初に呼んだのは双剣の塔ではない、四つ子の塔だったのよ。お師匠様の左右はるかに潜んだ隠し塔が描くセブンスランクルークの死の境界線をお師匠様はのこのこと踏み越えてきてくれた。チェックの発生が遅れてしまったことだけはマナー違反。率直に謝ろうぞ。
The battle had been decided at the very beginning. It had been over since the time the predecessor had leaned forward, readying her holy spear to attack Beatrice, who had been wedged between her shoulder towers. The hidden towers lurking on either side had bathed her in a windstorm of ballista shots from 720 ports on both sides, pinning and killing her. However, Beatrice hadn't wanted it to be resolved with that. She had wanted to make her master take her next move, and had continued acting as though the game was still on. She had immediately revived her with the endless power, and made her continue the game as though nothing had happened. Then the predecessor slowly remembered that she had already been killed and began to completely erase her form. When she did, the spear which had pierced Beatrice also erased itself. This is such a mind twister. Beatrice finally fell and landed on her feet. There wasn't even a trace of a scar.
楽しかったぞお師匠様。
よ
また遊びたくなったらいつでもよみがえらせてやるよ。それで適当に遊んだら死体だったことをまた思い出させてやるからさ。なあ、ちゃんとあんたの言いつけは守ってるぜ。おもちゃは遊び終わったらちゃんとおもちゃ箱にしまいましょうってな。
楽勝でございますかな。
愚かな心象だ。四つ子島で騙せてなかったら死んでおったのはわらわの方よ。さすがはお師匠様だが、これで胸が張れるというもの。わらわは今こそお師匠様を完全に超えたとな。ロノウェ、お師匠様の亡骸をもう少しマシにしておけ。わらわもそこまで敬意を失ってはおらぬでな。
かしこまりました。今宵の第一の晩は少々派手に暴れすぎました。少しは片付けも必要でしょう。すぐに取り掛かります。ヤギたちよ、お片付けの時間ですよ。
When Renaud snapped his fingers, blazing, sparkling eyes began to blink open in the shadows and darkness, becoming goat-headed attendants, which appeared one after another slowly out of the back. Wait. Out of the black. One by one, they lined up behind Renaud's back, wordlessly standing at attention.
この度は6人の遺体をどのようにいたしますか。また密室形式に。
わらわは今それを考える気分にない。ロノウェに任す。
This battle was the iconic scene I referred to last time. Okay.
バトラーを悩ませるようなとびっきりの密室を頼むぞ。
I have no idea what just happened.
かしこまりました。それではとびきりの。
それ、バトラーはどこだ？バトラー、わらわの大活躍見た？
くっしょー、今のめちゃくちゃな魔法の嵐を見せつけられて、俺は何を否定すればいいんだ。魔女はいるも何も、あんなドッカンドッカン凄まじいファンタジーを見せつけられて、今の俺は何を否定すりゃいいんだよ。もうわかんねえ。前回もそうだが、このイーカス的なマジカルバトルをどう否定すりゃいいんだよ。
だよな。こんなの見ちまったらもう言い逃れはできねえもんな。さあバトラー、とんでも推理を聞かせてくれよ。
お嬢様、笑いに品がございませんよ。
I don't know why, but it's very satisfying whenever Ronoe points out that Betich is acting undignified.
おお、これはすまぬ。しかしわらわの責任ではないぞ。何しろバトラにキューッと両目を固く閉じてキリキリギリギリ歯ぎしりするなんとも悔しそうなその表情を見せられると、自然とわらわの口からこぼれてしまうものでな。
さあバトラ様、くじけずにテーブルへお戻りを。お嬢様はバトラ様の反撃を期待されておりますよ。
ふざけるな。
Yes, thank you.
何をどう反論すりゃいいってんだ。まずあの塔が地面から生えてきたあたりからもうめちゃくちゃだろうが。
Yes.
実は六軒島の地下に合体変形巨大ロボの秘密研究所でもあってボタン一つでおかしな塔が生えてくるってのか。ああ、それならあのでけえ巨人どもはきっとロボットだぜ。あるいは悪の秘密結社のメカ怪獣かもな。わけわかんねえよ。俺に話しかけるんじゃねえ。うわー、
ほらほらほらほら、泣くなよ。魔法でドッカンドッカン。そなたが望むなら月だって砕くし、水星を雨のようにだって降らすさ。お前好みのムチムチ姉ちゃんで島を埋め尽くしてやってもいいんだぜ。さあさあ、ほらほらほら、わらわの出番は終わったぜ。受け手を刺せよ、反撃しろよ。できねえだろ。できねえのは船長も承知よ。お前こういうのダメだもんな。こういうファンタジー本当は大好きなんだもんな。知ってんだよ。今時こんなの巷にいくらでも溢れてるじゃねえか。漫画に小説、アニメに映画、10代くらいのガキンチョたちがおかしな特殊能力いっぱい持ってて、世界の命運かけてドッカンバッカンやるやつ。お前も大好きだもんな。知ってんだよ。隠すなよ。大好きじゃねえかよ。そのお前の大好きなやつがちょいと目の前で披露されただけじゃねえかよ。どうして漫画やアニメのそれは信じてくれるのに、わらわのだけ信じてくれねえんだよ。
But you don't actually believe it in manga and anime. You suspend your disbelief just to enjoy the story. And then you go back to real life without believing that what happened in the story is actually compatible with real life.
信じろよ、信じろよ、信じちまえよ。 反論なんかできねえさ。こうして見せられちまったんだからな。ほらほらほらほら、返事をしろよ。思考はいらねえ。素直に「ごめんなさいベアトリーチェ様」って言えばいいんだよ。
No.
ほらほら言ってみろ。ごめんなさいベアトリーチェ様って言ってみろよ。言えよ言えよ、恥ずかしがる
Just
なよ。
better, don't give in. She is quite something. Oh my god. Yeah. There was no way to notice the coming of morning without opening a window and looking at the clouded sky, which had become a tiny bit lighter. It wasn't a refreshing morning. I am the bestest of girls. Through and through, Bea. Through and through. It wasn't a refreshing morning. All that could be heard was the sound of the rain, which had kept falling since last night, and the howl of the wind.
とても朝とは思えないわね。
We have a live Kirie. At least I'm thankful for that. We get to see her a bit more.
私たちの心をそのまま示したひどい天気よ。
なら随分穏やかじゃねえか。雨は降れど槍が降らねえだけマシだぜ。
雨が降ろうと槍が降ろうとドンと来いっちゅうとこやな。もう6時かいな。はあ、これで十分とちゃうか。あとは謎の19人目ベアトリーチェが動いてこんことには手の打ちようもないわ。
Wait, they stayed up talking all night until 6 a.m.? Okay.
そういうことだ。だが、向こうが撃ってくるだろうほとんどの手は想定できたはずだ。
そうね。兄弟の中に裏切り者さえ現れなければ、私たちは大抵の事態に対応できるはずよ。
They're so convinced.
もうこの話は終わりにしましょう。結局徹夜しちゃったわね。眠いわ。
そうですね。朝食をとったら一度お休みになられてはいかがですか。
良い提案だ。この年に徹夜は応えるよ。
I'm afraid you're gonna have to fetch yourselves that breakfast. As they all stretched, they enjoyed this unrefreshing morning as best they could.
顔でも洗ってこようぜ。きっとひでえ辛さ。
何このひどい匂い。
As soon as they exited into the corridor, Kiria made an openly disgusted expression.
どうしましたか。ねえ、何かひどい匂いがしない？
ん？なんやこの匂いは。こらたまらんで。
Because of that fuss, everyone stuck their heads out into the corridor. It was a faint stench, but after the complaints, they clearly noticed it. Each of them went into the corridor, relying on their own sense of smell to tell them where the strange odor was coming from.
一体何事でしょう。現時に対応させましょう。きっともう使用人室に来ていて朝の準備をしているはずです。
頼む。まさかあのゴーダに限ってこんな匂いをさせる朝食を作っているとは思いがたいのだがね。
Rudolph's group searched for the source of the smell and determined that it was coming from underground, from the boiler room. But the door was locked and they couldn't check inside. Meanwhile, Natsuhi's group were on their way to search for someone in the servant room when they noticed something strange about the parlor.
何ですかこれは。
ひどいいたずらだわ。誰がこんなことを。
Let me guess, there's a magic circle on the door or something. Yeah, there it is. Drawn on the door to the parlor in a paint that reminded one of blood, there was a strange magic circle-like thing.
厨房にはまだ誰も来てないわ。何よそれ。
Eva's group, who had thought the smell had been coming from the kitchen, had returned, having observed that no one was there and that preparations for breakfast had not yet begun. And they noticed the unusual state of the parlor.
ダメだな。ボイラー室は鍵がかかってる。ボイラーの故障とかそういうのだとまずいんじゃないのか？使用人は誰かいたか？
その悪趣味な落書き、ここにもあるの？ボイラー室の扉にもあったのよ。
なんやって？この薄気味悪い落書きがここだけじゃなく他にもあるっちゅうんか。まさか森の魔女ベアトリーチェの宣戦布告っちゅうわけやないやろな。
Hideyoshi tried to make fun of it, but staring at this creepy magic circle while listening to the wind and rain really made it seem like it was a message from a witch. The dripping bright red paint made one think of blood, and it made things even more eerie. Hideyoshi tried to open the door, but it was locked. As a general rule, the parlor was never locked. Someone had gone out of the way to lock it.
これは私たちが食堂で話し合いをしている最中に誰かがこっそりとこの落書きを残したというの。客間とボイラー室の扉に。
どうせ使用人の仕業よ。私たちはずっと一緒だったのよ。全員にアリバイがある。おそらくお父様に何かおかしな指示を受けてこんないたずらをしたのよ。
昨日のマリアちゃんの手紙の件も含めて使用人連中が親父の手先になって何かを企んでる可能性は十分疑えるから。
That's what they were planning.
とにかくみんなどこに嫌がるんだ。まさかかくれんぼってわけでもねえだろうに。探そうぜ。
それより私は子供たちが気になるわ。無事よね。私確かめてくるついでにゲストハウスに使用人の人がいないか見てくるわ。
なら手分けだな。ゲストハウスにガキどもの様子を見に行く間、俺たちは屋敷の中を調べてみよう。考えたくはねえが、こんな薄気味悪い落書きがここだけってことはねえかもしれね
え。親父殿のおかしなゲームに巻き込まれているのかもしれんな。私は親父殿のところへ行って事情を聞いてみよう。
Good luck.
まあ素直に話を聞いてくれるとは思えんな。
No, because he's dead. The adults split up, very wise. As a result, they confirmed that the 4 children were safe in the so-called cousin's room on the 2nd floor of the guest house. It appeared that they had stayed up late last night playing. All of them were snoring loudly, so Rosa decided not to wake them. Furthermore, Nanjo, who had returned early the previous night to rest, was also alright. It seemed he believed in the phrase early to bed, early to rise, and had awoken refreshed. Ah, please give me some of that. During that time, Kirie and Hideyoshi searched for the servants, but they didn't find them. The servant room in the guest house was also empty.
子供たちは無事よ。みんな夜更かしのしすぎね。
使用人室は空っぽや。勤務表を見ても早番は6時からってことになっとる。もうお勤めをしてなきゃならん頃や。
仮眠室も空っぽよ。布団を抜け出した跡はあるけど暖かくはなかったわ。
こらクラウス兄さんたちの想像が当たったんとちゃうか。多分お父さんの指示で仕組んだゲームなんや。あの不気味な落書きを残してどこかに姿を隠してわしらに何かをさせたいに違いないんや。
遺産や家督を誰が引き継ぐにふさわしいか確かめようっていうことですか。いくらなんでもそれは。
いいえ、お父様だったらそういうことをしてもおかしくないかもしれない。
何しろお父さんは大仕掛けが大好きや。例の碑文を大広間に掲げた時から練りに練った計画だったのかもしれへんで。
ならゲームの開始宣言もしくはゲームの説明などがあったりはしないのかしら。マリアちゃんに渡したような紋章入りの封筒が出てきても良さそうだけど。
そうね。ひょっとすると屋敷で兄さんたちがそれを見つけたかもしれないわね。
南條先生、あんたなんか聞いてませんか？
申し訳ありませんが、私にも何が何だかさっぱりです。ただ、なるほど。金蔵さんが何かを企んで大仕掛けを打つことは私にも容易に想像できます。
一度屋敷に戻らんか？なんか向こうで見つけたかもしれんで。
お邪魔でなければ私もご一緒いたしましょう。
私はここに残るわ。上にマリアたちが寝てる。何が起こってるかわからないんだもの。子供たちを放ってはいけないわ。
はいやいや。
そうね。私もローザさんとここで留守番してるわ。うちの人にそう伝えていただけませんか？
Rosa and Kiria remained in the guest house. Hideyoshi went with Nanjo and returned again to the mansion. Meanwhile, in the mansion, unbelievably, or maybe we should say that bad feelings have a tendency to be right, Rodolph's prediction was right on. Because the same magic circle graffiti that had been drawn on the doors to the boiler room and the parlor had been found in multiple other places throughout the mansion. I guess this is the first time when they're like so split around, because past 2 times they were all in the same place.
親父の方はどうだ？いや、ダメだ。何の反応もない。一応扉に耳も当ててみたのだが、何の気配も感じなかった。
使用人の姿はどこにもありません。一体どこへ姿を消したのやら。
冗談じゃないわ。お父様も使用人も姿を消し、屋敷中のあちこちにおかしな魔法陣だらけ。一体何が起こってるっていうのよ。
Keep telling yourself that they're just hiding. There weren't only magic circles on the door to the boiler room and the door to the parlor. There were also 2 on the 2nd floor and 1 on the 3rd floor for a total of 5. They were all the same magic circle and all of the doors were locked, so they couldn't check inside.
とにかくまずはボイラー室を何とかしよう。何かの故障で火事になったりとか爆発したりとかしたら大変だ。となりゃ鍵だな。
使用人室にキーボックスがあったはずです。
They fished through the key box in the servant room. Because each servant individually carried their own master key around, those weren't kept here. However, all of the individual room keys should have been here.
よくもこれだけぎっしりと鍵があるものだ。
Yeah, have fun.
ないわ。何度探してもボイラー室の鍵が見つからないわ。
見ろよ姉貴。例の魔法陣の書かれた部屋の鍵だけが綺麗にぽっかりと抜けてるぜ。
本当ですね。これは困りました。
まるで魔法陣の部屋に入ってほしくないかのようね。いいえ、わざわざ魔法陣でアピールしてるんだから入ってほしいのかしら。
俺は後者だと思うぜ。扉をぶち破るのは映画じゃあるまいし無理だろう。窓を破ればなんとかなるかもな。
Kraus had a little trouble deciding whether this was a situation that called for smashing a window. At the time, Hideyoshi and Nanjo returned. There was nothing strange in the guest house and the children were safe. They told the others that Rosa and Kiria had stayed to watch over the place.
おはようございます。何やらおかしなことになったそうですな。おはようございます、南條先生。早朝から起こしてしまったようで申し訳ありませんが。
なんや、手紙の類は見つからんのか？わしはてっきりそういうのが見つかったとばかり思っとったんや。
そうね。私もこれはお父様の壮大な冗談か何かのゲームだと信じてる。でもそうなら必ずそれを伝える手紙があるはずよね。マリアちゃんに手紙を与えたように。
ゲーム開始宣言はまさにあのマリアちゃんの手紙だったのかもしれねえぜ。碑文の謎を解いてみろと。すでにゲームの内容は示されてるさ。なら屋敷から5つも見つかった魔法陣にはどんな意味があるというのかね。姿の見えない使用人もだ。
夏日姉さん、
使用人って今日は全部で何人いたかしら。現地に合田に5人ですが、何か。
使用人が5人、魔法陣も5つか。偶然だろうが気になるな。
兄さん、窓を破りましょう。中を確認するべきだわ。
仕方ないな。綺麗に頼むよ。
Neatly. How do you do it neatly? Okay. Kraus made his decision and gave permission to smash a window. And they decided that the first room they would break into would be the parlor on the first floor, where the windows would be easiest to reach. They had hoped to peek in through the window, but the curtains were drawn, so they couldn't see inside. Rudolph wandered around the garden trying to find something that would be good for smashing the glass. Eventually he found a rock bigger than a fist and came back.
全部割ることはないわよ。鍵が回せる程度に開けてくれれば十分。
あまり期待には添えないかもしれないぜ。
Rudolph raised the rock and hit the glass with it several times. Before long, he succeeded in skillfully opening a hole big enough that he could unlock it from the outside. Covering his hand with the handkerchief, he stuck his hand through that hole and cautiously unlocked it.
後でガムテープで塞いだ方がいいだろうな。雨が吹き込んじまうぜ。
When he threw the window open, the wind and rain made the curtains dance around violently. He swiped the curtain to the side. They could see the parlor they knew well. They were a little relieved, because they had thought that maybe the room would be filled with more bizarre magic circles, or possibly the traces of some creepy ritual. In any event, they didn't want to hang around out in the rain, so the six of them, Kraus, Natsuhi, Eva, Hideyoshi, Rudolph, and Nanjo, entered the parlor as a group.
特に変わったところはないようですな。
どうしましたか、シャノン。ちょっと大丈夫なの？どうしたのよ、あんた。
チア南條先生、見たってや。
おい、シャノンちゃん、大丈夫か？返事をしろい。
揺さぶってはいけません。今容体を見ます。
She had been in the shadow of a sofa, so they hadn't noticed her until they entered the room. Shannon was lying on the floor, her chest stained bright red with blood.
おーい、バトラー、どこだ？ほらほら、シャノンの死体が出てきたぞ。もういじめねえから出てこいよ。
You say that, but you don't mean it.
おー、いた。そんなところで頭抱えて何してんだよ。
Battler had his head pressed to the table, and was clutching it with his hands. His pitiful figure made it plainly clear that he didn't want to see anything, didn't want to hear anything. Had he heard Beatrice's sneering voice? Could he not hear, or was he pretending that he couldn't hear? In any event, it was clear that he had closed up his heart like a shell.
少しお嬢様がいじめすぎたのではないでしょうか。あれだけのものを見せつけて反論を迫っては、塞ぎ込みたくなる気持ちも分かろうというもの。
なあバトラー、反論がないならリザインを頼むぜ。お前の手番なんだ。何か刺すとかパスするとか、さもなきゃ降参するとかしてくれねえと話が前に進まねえよ。
Come on, Battler, get a grip.
何聞こえないぞ。
黙れっつってんだ。うるせえ。何か魔女だ、何か魔法だ。好き勝手にやればいいじゃねえかよ。俺は信じねえ、何も信じねえ。クソ。俺に話しかけるな、何も見せるな、消えちまえ。俺にそのムカつく顔を近づけるな。
Beatrice instinctively winced at Battler's sudden rage.
そうは言うがな、お前の手番が終わらんとわらわの手番も来ぬ。 あまりわらわを退屈させるなと言いたいのだが。
知るかよ、黙れよ、うるせえんだよ。お前のゲームなんか知るかよ。付き合ってらんねえんだよ。俺の番が終わらねえとてめえの番が来ねえってんなら永遠に待ってやがりゃいいだろうが。ああ、知らねえわからねえ。魔女も魔法も認めねえ。あんなめちゃくちゃも認めねえ。俺に話しかけるなっつってんだ。
What does that mean? I don't know what's what anymore. After being shown something that screwed up, how could I continue to resist? I wandered aimlessly through the rose garden. It was raining and windy, but that didn't mean my body got wet. There was just a feeling of isolation as I wandered amidst the wind and rain without an umbrella.
俺はひょっとするとあいつのゲームにとっくの昔に負けているのかもしれねえな。
Actually, I wonder whether we hadn't reached a clear resolution in the previous game. After all, I had submitted to her for a time. Please don't. No, that cannot be the resolution. You can be angry, you can yell, you can just decide to not play when you're outraged at how she's doing things when it's her turn. I'm fine with that. Just please, for the love of God, don't succumb to that. No. Ever again, please. No, it was so painful to watch. So the world had been tinted with witches and magic. Right now, Rokkenjima is a different world where witches stride around openly and fire off strange magic. It isn't a matter of accepting it or denying it. Maybe I had mistakenly assumed that I was playing a game on an even footing with battle. I had already been defeated in the last game, and this may just be the signing ceremony for my surrender. Wow, you don't say. No, I had not noticed at all. Just now, a mighty battle had unfolded in this rose garden. I had seen it with my own eyes. I kicked the ground. Obviously the ground was hard, and a puddle splashed. Several towers had split this ground, sprouting like high-rise buildings. The more I kicked this ground, the more it felt like that really couldn't be possible. But because of that, I couldn't explain it with anything other than magic anymore.
密室に鍵が閉じ込められてとかってやつならよくある推理小説の延長だろってことはわかるさ。でもあれはな、あのドッカンドッカンってのはな。
Look, I honestly do not know what kind of argument to make, but if it were that, what's the right word to describe it? That, uncontestable. That's it. If it were something completely that you couldn't contest at all, and you, like, 100% it had to be that it's just, woo, magic, wah. Then why are we here? Why didn't Beatrice win by default? Like, there has to be something there. I don't know what. I don't know what to say. I don't know what, like... We've been told so many times, oh, you have to figure out the rules of this world and blah blah blah. Like, I don't know, what rules are those? The rules are, we're getting bullied and have flashy sound and visual effects thrown at us. And then we're told, yeah, explain that with something else than magic. You've shown me something ridiculous. What do you want me to do with that? But the thing is, if it were uncontestable, then we wouldn't be here. So, by the sheer fact that we're here in this position, there has to be something. So, at the very least, I would hope and I would want him to get to a point where he doesn't, like, where his spirit doesn't waver, just like, I don't know, like a tarp in the wind or something. Just like, man, get a grip. That's all. That's what I want. Even if you don't know the answer, even if you don't have a move for the next turn, that doesn't mean you have to just like cower and like roll on the ground and cry. It's okay. Big hint in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Right when I decide to stop to say something, there's actually something upcoming that's relevant but interesting. I was suddenly spoken to, so I turned around. And in the Rose Garden Arbor was the predecessor of Beatrice, who Beatrice had supposedly defeated a short while ago.
きり死んだと思ったぜ。生きてたのか。
いいえ、死にましたよ。今の私は取られた駒がチェス盤の外でくつろいでいるだけに過ぎません。
あんたはベアトの師匠なんだろ。ってことはつまりあんたも魔女ってわけか。
ええ、そうですよ。
ってことはつまりやっぱり魔女はいるってことで決まりなわけだろ。そしてあいつを倒せるのは俺じゃない。すげえ魔法使えるあんたの方じゃねえか。俺はもうお役ごめんさ。俺にできることなんてもう何もね。
No, before she says anything, I just want to interject here. I think it is precisely because you're like that it has to be you, Butler. It's exactly because you're not what you're describing there that it has to be you.
おやおや、すっかり屈服してしまいましたか。
Please no.
屈服も何もあれをどう説明すりゃいいんだよ。塔が生えたり落ちてきたり、でっけえ巨人が盾を構えたり槍を投げたり。ああ、思い出すだけでも気が変になりそうだぜ。もう推理もヘチマもあったもんじゃねえ。トリックとか人間犯人説とかそんな領域をとっくに超えてるだろ。ああ、畜生畜生畜生畜生。
落ち着いて。私はあの子のゲーム版の駒に過ぎない。こうして番外へ取り除かれてしまえばもはや何もできない存在。しかしあなたはあの子の対戦相手。あなたが自ら投げ出さない限りあなたには常にあの子に一矢報いる力があるのだから。
Yes. Please, Battler, take notes.
うるせえ。あんただっておかしな呪文を唱えて塔だの槍だのを呼び出してたじゃねえかよ。何を一矢報いるってんだよ。俺にも魔法を教えてくれてあいつとあの大魔法バトルを繰り広げろって言うのかよ。
あなたが望むならあなたに魔法の一端を教えてあげてもいいですよ。
そりゃあ願ったり叶ったりだぜ。あいつの胸板にズドンと打ち込んでやれるようななめんなってんだ。
日本の魔法に雨乞いの儀式というものがあるそうですね。ご存知ですか？
雨乞い？バンバン火をくべて演武を奉納して雨を祈るっていうあれか？あれは魔法じゃねえだろ。
Best part of episode 3 right here. Okay, okay, also hi, Desaline.
火で上昇気流ができて、その結果、雨雲が集まるっていう、れっきとした化学現象のはずだぜ。
おや、私は東洋魔法の一つだと信じていましたが、魔法ではないのですか。
Eastern magic. Was it not that magic that like was annoying Beatrice? Because she has Western magic. What does that mean?
天に聖なる火を捧げ、敬いの演武を捧げることで、神々の心に雨乞いの嘆願が届くものと信じておりましたよ。
大昔の連中はそうだったろうよ。でも、その手のオカルトは、大抵科学的に説明がつくもんだ。
物が燃えるのはどうしてですか？物質にフロギストンが含まれているからでは？
いや、物が燃えるのは酸化反応だ。フロギストン説はラボアジェが否定したはずだぜ。
物に熱が伝わるのはどうしてですか？ 物質にカロリックが含まれているからでは。
そいつは確かジュールが否定したはずだ。熱はエネルギーであって物質じゃない。
よくお勉強していますね。
Nice. I'm not very fantastically good at physics. But reading him saying that, I remember some stuff from high school.
正しい知識ですよ。
ちょいとした雑学レベルだがな。
フロギストンもカロリックも、果てはエーテルも、神の愛さえも、科学的な説明の前には無力ですね。私はかつて木からリンゴが落ちるのは人に食を与えるための神の愛のおかげだと聞かされましたよ。
重力すらも神の愛なのか。まあ科学より宗教が万物を説明した時代の名残だろうぜ。
その通りです。人類はかつて自らの知識の限界を、いいえ、無知そのものを魔法と呼んだのです。先ほどの雨乞いの話はまさにそれでしょう。太古の人々が火が熱を生み上昇気流を生み出して雲を呼ぶことを科学的に理解していたでしょうか。理解せずともそういう結果になることだけは知っていた。
そういうのは結構あるかもな。先人たちの知恵ってやつさ。理由は分からずとも長い経験でそういう結果が得られることを知っていた。原理を理解できない現象は多分彼らにとっては魔法も同然だったろうな。
Just like this person had just said, ancient people who didn't understand the principles had probably believed that through the rain ceremony their wish had reached the heavens and made the rain fall. To them, that was certainly magic. As long as they didn't understand thermals,
電気のスイッチを押せば明かりがつく。子供は電球がなぜ発光するのか、その科学的原理を知らず、結果だけを知っていてスイッチを押す。原理を知らずとも結果を得られるならば、それは彼らにとって魔法なのではありませんか。
面白い話だな。まあ理屈から言やそうだ。例えば俺たちはテレビのブラウン管にどうして画像が映るのか。でもテレビに物が映るのは当たり前だと思ってる。ブラウン管の原理を知らなくてもスイッチを押せばテレビが見られることだけは知っている。上昇気流を理解せずに雨乞いをするのと全く同じだ。つまり原理を知らないならばテレビだって魔法も同然。いや魔法そのものだろうってわけか。
あなたはブラウン管の構造がどうなっているか知っていますか。分解してその中身を見たことは。
ねえよ。本か何かで構造を読んだ気もするが難しくてさっぱりだったな。確か電子が蛍光物質にぶつかるとき発光してどうだらこうだら。
Mr. Brown, yes, I had thought about it as well. I just have the image of his shop in my head, like instantly etched in my mind since they mentioned it. Like, yeah. Natsukashi.
それは偽書です。真実はブラウン管の中にグレムリンという妖精が閉じ込められていて魔法で仕事をしてくれているからなのですよ。
はあ？バカなこと言うなよ。そんなわけねえだろ。
ブラウン管の中を覗いたこともないのにどうして否定を？
覗いたことはねえが絶対にそんな妖精はいないと断言できるさ。
ここにブラウン管がない以上実証は不能ですよ。
確かに今この瞬間は実証不能だが後でどこかのテレビをばらしてみせればすぐに論破できるさ。
ということはブラウン管の中にグレムリンが閉じ込められていてその魔法で映像を映し出しているという私の魔法説はブラウン管の中身を検証するまで否定不能ということになりますね。
なんだよあれか。悪魔の証明だって言いてえのか。お前たち魔女のお箱だぜ。
悪魔の証明は消極的事実の証明が不可能であることを逆手に取った詭弁です。しかし今のブラウン管の話は違う。テレビをたった1台分解すれば済むだけの話ですよ。
そうだな、確かに悪魔の証明とは異なるな。
あなたの提唱する科学的説明と私の提唱する魔法的説明、そのどちらかが真実です。そしてそれはブラウン管の中を覗いた時に確定する。しかしそれを確かめる瞬間の直前まで私たちは互いの説を否定できないのです。つまり真実は一つであるにもかかわらず、ブラウン管の中を覗く直前までは相反する真実が同時に2つ存在することができる。一つしか存在してはいけない真実が2つ同時に存在できる異空間。
Is the cat in the box alive or dead? There it is. I was wondering if they were gonna invoke this. Yeah. If you open the box, you will know the answer. You will know the truth. However, until you open the box, you can claim that the cat is alive, and you can also claim it is dead. Each of the two parties makes a claim that according to them is the correct truth. And even though the two sides are conflicting, neither can win the argument as long as the box remains unopened. This brown tube trial is such a big help for theory making. It isn't a VN if there are no cat boxes. Yeah, I don't know, because I am totally with her what she's been saying thus far. But I don't feel, at least I don't have the connecting elements that make what we have experienced thus far equivalent to the idea of like, oh, how can you prove that it's not little gremlins making images appear on the TV, right? Because the observable result is that there are images on the TV, and then the question is, how does that happen? One theory is like there's some physics stuff in there that I personally also don't, and electronics maybe, that I personally also don't know how to explain directly. And the second one is, oh, there's little gremlins in there that make it happen that way, right? So then you go to the brown tube, you open it up, and you prove whatever. Okay, great. So far so good. I'm with you on that. But what do I do about the stuff that we have been shown in the novel? Like, should Battler go to one of the steak babes and be like, hey babe, sorry, I have to take you apart to figure out what's inside of you. Please, you know, stay calm while I don't know, tear your limb from limb or whatever. Like, what? Where is the connecting equivalence there? Because I don't see it so far. You know. Like, yeah. Because the thing is, if we had just been shown the consequences or the results of actions and then been put in the situation to consider or, you know, try to disprove a theory about how that came to happen, involving magic or not involving magic, that would have been more or less on the same kind of playing field. And I feel so far only episode 1 was more or less in that direction. The stuff that's been thrown at us in episode 2 and 3, I'm like, okay, you're throwing a goat servant at me, you're throwing sexy ass babes that turn into steaks and flash around, you're throwing Shannon having a protective barrier around her, Canon having a similar kind of weapon appear on his arm and then fighting them and stuff like that. What am I supposed to do with that? I don't know. There's like, that's a completely different level. Great idea, Nezu. Very battler. I mean, I know, that's why I said it. But at the same time, you understand what I'm saying. Like, I'm poking fun at it because I don't know what else to do. Oh, Desolane, you're always so kind. Like, I don't doubt anything that you're saying. I don't see it. I guess I'm missing the love. I want to find this like mythical love that will put everything together because I don't have it yet. And I feel lost, but okay. It doesn't make it better that I am running on 4 hours of sleep, 2 cups of coffee, and a prayer today. So my mind is really stretched thin. Okay. Yeah, what's in the box kind of moment. Okay. In other words, two truths can exist at the same time. Well, yes and no. I wouldn't call them truths, but okay, we can let it slide. Even though there can only be one cat in the box, it is packed with a living cat and a dead cat in a strange parallel world. That is what Rokkenjima is now. This island is now a different world where a science theory and a magic theory exist at the same time. Aha! Theories, not truths, okay? That's different. To resident of the world of science such as yourself, at a glance it may feel as though the island has been sucked into a world of magic. While that may be correct, it is not accurate. What? Only in Umineko can you read this sentence. While that may be correct, it is not accurate. What am I supposed to do with this? Okay. Classic 9. Yes. Oh my god. Strictly speaking, it has moved from the world of science to the midway point between that world and the world of magic. It's kind of like on the same line, on the same playing field as people die when they are killed. Kind of, it's there. Although I understand people die when they are killed a lot better than this. Thanks. So at a glance it appears to you as though the world is tilted towards the magic side. But actually, this island is now in a perfectly impartial position with relation to the two opposing worlds. Is it though? Because I feel it's not that impartial. I feel like it's really tilted towards Beatrice's games and bullying and hee-hee-hees and ha-ha-has and extreme facial expressions. I think alarm clocks are degenerate. Oh, another good one.
よくわからねえ。現実と魔法の中間？限りなく公平な世界？どこがだよ。俺に圧倒的に不利な展開ばっかりじゃねえかよ。
ならばこう考えるといいでしょう。これは裁判です。あなたとベアトリーチェが相反する主張を繰り広げている法廷だと考えるのです。ブラウン管裁判でもいいでしょう。あの子はブラウン管の中には妖精が入っていると主張している。そして中に入っている妖精がどのような生態でどのような姿なのか、どのような魔力を持っているのかを次々に説明する。そしてあなたは？
まあ、図書館で勉強してブラウン管の構造を説明して反論するだろうよ。
この瞬間、法廷にはあなたの主張とあの子の主張が同時に存在する。もしもあの子の主張に耳を傾けたならば、それはあたかも真実に聞こえてしまうかもしれない。見えてしまうかもしれない。
I know, Bea, I know.
あなたはまさにそれを見せつけられた。今この瞬間の六軒島には確かに魔女も魔法も真実として存在するかもしれない。しかしそれは猫の箱が開かれる瞬間までの不確定な波動関数の世界。すべての状態が同時に説明できる。しかし真実は一つです。 それは観測されることによって収縮し、無数の真実が淘汰されてたった一つの真実になる。法廷で例えるならば、これは裁判長による判決行為にも似ているでしょう。検察側、弁護側がそれぞれに主張する2つの真実は判決によって収縮し一つとなるのです。
あんたの言葉を借りると、つまり今のこの島はブラウン管の中を覗く直前の世界ってわけなんだな。だからこそ科学説も魔法説もどちらも否定できない。否定できないってことは、つまり
どちらも真実として存在できる。だから魔女も魔法も存在し得る。しかし同時にそれを否定するあなたの意見もまた真実として同時に存在できる。相反する2つが同時に存在できる世界。そして相反する真実が互いを否定する理由にできない世界。理解できてきましたか？
つまりベアトがどんなすげえ魔法を俺に見せようとも、それは魔法説の主張でしかなく、俺を否定することには当たらない。
That is the thing that like really pisses me off, because Beatrice is like, oh, I've shown you this, now explain it. Which part? The part where towers are sprouting from the ground? I have to explain how that is happening? Because to me, that more or less falls in line to what, I don't even know what to call her. Predecessor Beatrice is saying about that is part of how the current Beatrice is like making up her own story of like the little gremlins in the brown tube and how they lived their lives and so on, and like what names they have and what they look like and what kind of personalities they have and stuff like that, right? So that part is something that Beatrice is describing in support of her theory. But to disprove her theory, I don't have to explain or justify why the gremlins have personalities, because the gremlins just don't exist. So I would have to focus on the concrete, I don't know what to call it, like not result or consequence, but like the indisputable facts that are consequences of it, right? Like in the whole brown tube thing, it's just the image showing up on the screen. That is the thing that you have to focus on and have to explain, not why the gremlins were upset over dinner or something like that. Like, you know, like, but I feel like we're being pushed into that direction, which that's why I've always like just like rolled my eyes and feel like, this is just ridiculous. What am I supposed to do with that? Because I don't feel like we should have to do anything with that. But anyway, let's see.
ベアトがどんな魔法を俺に見せようとも、この世界ではそれをもって魔法が存在する証拠にはなり得ないってことか。
そうです。あの子は木からリンゴが落ちることすらも魔法で説明しようとするでしょう。あの子は一見杖を振るって魔法にてリンゴをもぎ取り大地に落としたかのように主張するかもしれない。しかしそれはあの子の主張の一つに過ぎないのです。あの子のいかなる主張もあなたの主張する機会を拒むことはできない。その意味においてこの世界は双方にあまりに公平なのです。
なるほどだがよ、その論法で言ったなら、たとえ俺が科学説で正論を示したところで奴の魔法説と正面衝突を起こすだけで俺もまた奴を論破できない。しかもそのファイナルジャッジはブラウン管を除かない限りつかない。この世界のブラウン管はどこにあるんだ。俺たちに議論なんて必要ないってことになる。俺たちは仲良くブラウン管の中身を覗けばいいだけの話じゃねえのか。中に妖精が本当にいたら俺の全面敗北だ。いなかったら逆に俺の勝ち。俺たちはブラウン管を覗かずに どうして論争を繰り広げなくちゃならないんだ。
それこそがあの子があなたに挑んだゲームなのです。裁判ではなくチェスと例えるべきでしょう。勝敗は裁判官が決めるのではない。戦っているあなたたち自身が決めるのです。
真実が同時に存在できるめちゃくちゃな世界で相手を論破なんてできるのかよ。
現にあなたは論破されて今こうして屈服していますよ。今私に助言できるのはここまでです。もしもあなたが望むなら時折助言を与えましょう。
ああ、ありがとう。助かるぜ。あんたの仇も。
ありがとう。期待していますよ。
あんた、名前は？
ベアトリーチェはかつて私の名でしたが、譲ってしまった今、私は名前を持ちません。ならば仮の名でも名乗りましょう。ワルギリアス。いえ、ワルギリアではいかがです？
Another witch friend. I quite like her.
ワルギリ
ア I have not actually.
ワルキリア
I guess I'll have to educate myself in that direction.
神話の女神の名前だっけか？
いいえ、ベアトリーチェのもとへ導くものという意味です。煉獄さんの頂上にて待つあの子のもとへあなたを導く。
Interesting. Okay.
その案内人にふさわしい名前でしょう。
Very, very cool then.
魔女を否定する俺が魔女の助けを借りるとはな。なるほど。異なる主張が同時に存在できるこの矛盾した世界ならそれもありってわけだ。笑える話だぜ。
あの子の言葉を借りるけど、本当にあなたは不死鳥のような人ね。戦う気力がもう蘇ってきた。さあ、心の準備がいいならあの子のもとへ、あの子の座するチェス盤の正面へお戻りなさい。私の弟子とどこまで戦えるか楽しみにしていますよ。
ああ、見てろよ。もうあいつの寝言には耳を貸さねえ。とことん冷静に俺の戦いを貫いてやる。もうあいつの挑発には絶対に乗らね
え。では戻りましょう。戦いの席へ。おお、バートラー。そなたどこへ姿を消しておったのか。負け犬は二度と姿を現さないかと思ったぞ。
待たせたな。頭を冷やしてきたぜ。
それでわらわとお師匠様の愉快痛快爽快大喝采の素敵ファンタジーバトルへの回答は出たのかい？
The Divine Comedy is boring. Alright, I've only heard of it and yeah, it's been mentioned here and there in various contexts, particularly in school, but I didn't go to actually read it fully. Chidori likes it. I mean, that's alright. I don't have to do it, and to be honest, in the upcoming 2 months, my time is just already so splintered into so many directions that I don't know if I can fit anything else in. But you know, at some point in life, it would be nice to be a little bit more cultured and know these things. So, who knows? I'll make a mental note. I thought it was fascinating, but yeah, you need some guidebook to properly read it due to the countless references to historical figures and the likes. Yeah, for sure. Just like a bunch of other like oldish kind of texts it's hard to do it on your own without proper context and guidance. You need a Virgilius of your own, I guess.
あんなのファンタジー以外じゃ説明不能だろ。
Come on, Battler, you got this. Make me proud.
お嬢様、さっき親切で上品にするとお誓いになられたばかりですよ。
いけねえいけねえ。バトラの顔を見てるとついつい上機嫌になってしまうものでな。ほれほれほれ、それでバトラ、さっきの戦いだがどういう反応を示してみせるよ。
Come on.
バトル？何があったって？
何？
このバラ庭園のどこに？お前らがニョキニョキ生やした塔が、槍がどこに転がってんだ？ねえじゃないか。つまりこいつがブラウン管の中身ってわけさ。
ブラウン管の中身とな。一体何の話を始めるやら。
今この瞬間、バラ庭園には何もない。さっきまでは魔法で塔が生えていたかもしれねえさ。だが、それはブラウン管の中を知るまでだ。
He had a little pep talk and now he's all cocky. I don't think he is necessarily cocky. I think this is just confident Battler, like standing his ground Battler. Cockiness and arrogance, I would put them on the side of Beatrice because she is over the top, and I don't think anyone can contest that. She is. She has been that so far.
魔法バトルはお前の解釈、主張に過ぎない。今この場に何もないのがその証拠だ。俺はさっきの魔女の戦いにこう反論する。今この場に何もないのは何事もなかったことの証明だとな。
I don't mean Bea in chat. I'm trying my best to kind of like differentiate between the, you know, Bea is a real person who sure is using a nickname, and it's nice that we, you know, recognize her through this handle of the character's name. But the Beatrice in the novel is the Beatrice in the novel, right? So I don't want to conflate the two. And here I was talking about Beatrice, definitely. Have you looked inside the brown tube and confirmed that? I don't need to, because this is not a thing that needs to be reasoned with. This is a truth of the heart, and I know it because it's right here.
Oh. あのな、さすがに第一の晩から大暴れはできぬし、わらわもこのバラ庭園は気に入っているので
Uh-huh.
な。
Sure, Beatrice. You say that. Yes. Yes. That is the one thing that I clearly see with love. And there's nothing to, you know, question or be unsure of in that direction. It's the one thing. The others, I don't know. I'm still lost in this novel. But I guess we'll see.
被害を及ぼさないため、結界の中で戦っておったのだ。
Okay.
だから現実には何の影響も与えていないのは当然のことよ。
それがお前の主張だな。ああ、それもありだろうな。だが今この瞬間のバラ庭園に何もない。だから魔法などなかったという俺の主張を何ら妨げるものではないんだ。
おいおい、そんなめちゃくちゃでわらわの魔法を否定できるのか？魔法がないは証明不能。悪魔の証明であるぞ。
今この瞬間のこのバラ庭園が真実だ。覗いた瞬間に ブラウン管の中の妖精は蒸発する。そしてここには何の魔法の痕跡もない。だからお前らの魔女の戦いは行われなかった。
なんだその顔しては。
I understand what you're saying. It's obvious that the novel doesn't give you much to work with. We've had a few moments that I admit maybe I could. But like the overwhelming rest of the time, it's just like dumping nonsense after nonsense after ridiculousness at you. And her attitude, the way she's acting, doesn't make her very palatable so far. And so I'm not, like, I have to make an effort and force myself to do that. And in forcing myself to do that, I would have to basically start from the premise that I have to reach a certain conclusion, which is very twisted already, and then make up stuff along the way. So I want the novel to give me more, because at this moment, like, I'm not very willing to do that. Sorry, I'm sorry, but that's what it is. No, I'm just saying, if I were to do that right now, I feel like I don't have that much to work with, and I would have to, like, assume things or make up my own hypotheses or stuff like that, which, to be fair, there are a few floating in my head. But I don't feel that's fair. Like, I don't think that's right, and I don't feel like that's what I'm supposed to do, at least at this moment. So I will keep that in mind, but I need more development in that direction if I am to do that.
お忘れですか、お嬢様。多層世界収縮術です。無限の魔女の力と対になる有限の魔女の力。無限の魔女にしか悟ることができず、そして無限の魔女にとって最も強力な効果を発揮します。
They both have the sweat drip. That's good for us.
フレディンガーの猫箱か。あの老いぼれ魔女め、余計な入れ知恵を。
時間をロスった。使用人5人とじい様で6人の死体。状況を確認させてもらうぜ。俺がもたもたしてて。
Focus on the image on the screen. Yep.
ここからはサクサクいくぜ。席につけ、ベアトリーチェ。ようやく第一の番じゃねえか。本番スタートだぜ。どんと来やがれ。
This is partly what Lambda meant with Beato overplaying, as well as Burn saying that she isn't playing very fair. Yeah. Right. The adult motivations aside, at least for us kids, these were supposed to be a fun couple of days where we cousins deepened our friendship. However, when we woke up, there was an unbelievably cruel reality waiting for us. George, Aniki, and Jessica were crying over Shannon-chan and Kanunkun's deaths. Right now... Wait, this is a new room. Right now, everyone who was alive was gathered in the lobby on the first floor of the guest house. And there were 12 of us. Unbelievable, right? There were 18 up until yesterday. And in one night, a third of that number had lost their lives. My agitation had finally settled down, and along with my lack of sleep from being woken up so early in the morning, I was beginning to feel like this was just a little unreal. I want to think this is some kind of bad dream. My cheap escapism, kept telling me that was true over and over. Maria had gone back to sleep in the sofa Auntie Rosa was sitting in. Rather than her having nerves of steel, she probably genuinely hadn't had enough sleep. Ah, okay, it's Rudolph with the gun this time. Okay, gotcha. Because he's alive this time. Woo! Unknown territory. The adults were grasping members of grandfather's collection of short-barrel rifles. Apparently a remnant from the period when he was obsessed by westerns. There were 4 identical guns altogether. Okay. So there's gonna be more people with guns. Cool. Those had been split up between the 4 siblings. Uncle Kraus, Auntie Eva, my dad, and Auntie Rosa. Paper boxes filled with bullets lay on the table, and the siblings were silently loading their guns.
なんだか怖い。こいつに触ってると、今でも触るなって怒鳴られて、ぶん殴られるような気がするぜ。
ならよかったな。いくら触っても、もう殴られることはない。
信じられないわ。あのお父様がこんな最後を迎えるなんて。
金蔵さんに限って普通に床で亡くなるようなことはないだろうと思っていましたが、それにしてもむごすぎる。
ねえ、あれは本当にお父様なのかしら。私は別人の死体でごまかした替え玉を疑ってるんだけど。
いいえ、あれは間違いなくお父様です。
The toe thing, right?
足の指をご覧になったでしょう。
Yep, I remember.
世間広しといえど、両足の指が6本の人間はそうはいませんよ。
でもいないとも言えない。多子症は珍しくない病気だと聞いたわ。王子掛けの大好きな方なんでしょ。どこかで両足の指の数が自分と同じな遺体を手配したかもしれないわ。
バカバカしい。そんなこと何のためにするというのですか。
普通の人にならわしもそう言うわ。しかしあのお父さんや桐江さんの話も全くの口頭無形とは言い切れんのやないか。
小死体は身元の確認が難しいという。だが歯型とか骨格とかいろいろ調べる方法はあるはずさ。警察が調べれば一発で身元なんかわかるに決まってる。
Well, in an instant, I wouldn't say, but...
問題は警察より先に電話技師が必要だという点だがね。
この台風じゃ船は来られないでしょうね。なら明日になるのかしら。
おそらく明日の9時にもう一度船が来てくれるでしょう。そこで警察に連絡できると思います。
私たちも、そして犯人も、つまりは台風が通り過ぎるまでこの島に閉じ込められたってわけね。
Just from our parents' conversation, you could probably figure out the general gist, but let's explain the situation anyway. First, early that morning, in various places throughout the mansion, a total of 6 corpses of grandfather and all the servants had been found one after another. First, grandfather had been fed to the flames in the boiler room and was completely burned. The servants were found dead, each locked in one of the various rooms throughout the mansion onto which magic circles had been drawn. The cause of death for the servants was uncertain, but according to Dr. Nanjo's diagnosis, there was a high likelihood that they had been stabbed by something like a spear, or possibly shot by a gun. On new profiles, okay. Oh yeah, you're right. Human style. Right, very weird. Kinzo discovered as a burned corpse from the incinerator in the underground boiler room. As there were no signs that he fought to get out of the incinerator, it seems reasonable to think that he was burned after he was murdered. Too bad this sign, game over right at the very start. Okay, and then the servants at the bottom. Genji, corpse discovered in the 2nd floor VIP room. The murder weapon is assumed to be a gun or spear-shaped object. In appreciation for his many years of service, Genji shall be permitted to sleep in the VIP room. Shannon. Corpse discovered in the parlor on the first floor. The murder weapon is assumed to be a gun or spear-shaped object. For Shannon, the parlor, whose view of the rose garden was beautiful on sunny days. Don't like that. Corpse discovered in the chapel. Oh, Cannon was in the chapel. The murder weapon is assumed to be a gun or spear-shaped object. The chapel for Cannon. Even after death, keep on protecting the place important to the Lord. Goda. Corpse discovered in the third floor servants' quarters. The murder weapon is assumed to be a gun or spear-shaped object. Yeah. He wanted to gain Kinzo's favor. The room next to the study is appropriate for him. Masa. Corpse discovered in the second floor guest room. The murder weapon is assumed to be a gun or spear-shaped object. The seldom used guest room on the second floor was her secret napping spot. Aww, my heart. Ay. We have a different profile for... we have Virgilia here, okay. Retired endless, and also we get to see her dress in its full glory. That's very nice. So many ruffles. Me likey very much. Retired endless witch and Beatrice's master. Made proper use of the endless magic and dedicated her life to the happiness and smiles of people. How about that? Taught Beatrice the endless magic and retired believing that Beatrice would devote herself to people in the same way. As well as being Beatrice's master, she was also the consulting mage of Beatrice's old home. For this reason, Virgilia interacted with her in the manner of a servant. The consulting mage of a... the consulting mage. What did I read? I read something wrong. I'm sorry, I'm tired. For this reason, Virgilia interacted with her in the manner of a servant. It is said that this was responsible for causing Beatrice's egotism and excesses. I don't know. I think there's more there. But we'll see. Okay. I think for Noe we had read it, and yeah. Yeah, it's... at least to me it looks familiar. Okay. Done with the profiles. That was why the adults had started arming themselves with the rifles. And what made the situation even more chaotic was that the telephone lines were out of order. It was unknown whether lightning had caused them to break down or whether the culprit had destroyed them. In any case, contact with the outside was broken off and we couldn't contact the police. So until tomorrow morning, when the typhoon would pass and the boat would come, we would have to protect ourselves. After all, Rokkenshima was now isolated by the typhoon, and just like how we were stuck on the island, so was the culprit. It seemed that the adults had stayed up the whole night, spending the whole time holding the family conference in the mansion's dining hall. And even so, this crime had occurred in the mansion. So right when the adults had been getting worked into a frenzy over money, the murderer had been killing under the same roof. Aunt Natsuhi said that they were strict on locking the doors and windows at night, and yet some suspicious person had entered the mansion. The adults had decided that the inside of the mansion was too large to be safe. So they had pulled out the guns and moved to the guest house where we had been. Which brings us to the present. George Aniki and us others begged to see Shannon-chan's body, but the adults refused point blank, saying that we must not until the police arrived. That wasn't just because they had sealed all the rooms to preserve the scene. After all, the culprit who had killed 6 people had wandered about that mansion. To the Ushiromiya family right now, the mansion, which should have been their home, was like a danger zone that an unknown murderer had entered. It makes sense, I mean, the mansion is vast. There are plenty of blind spots and dark places, and it's just too vast to guarantee absolute safety with this number of people. In contrast, the guest house is a much smaller building than the mansion. 2 stories tall. Number of rooms, about 10. Apparently, it had originally been constructed to serve as a boarding house for when the island was to be turned into a resort. So it's easy to grasp the entire structure and easy to guarantee safety. That makes it a good place to hole up in. And There's an extremely high likelihood that this mass murder of 6 people is a game, because the culprit had proclaimed that in a letter. I heard that the Western-style envelope with the family crest, just like the one Maria claimed to have received from Beatrice yesterday, had been found in the boiler room where grandfather's corpse had been discovered. This was what the letter said. So that there will be no misunderstandings. The game I seek is whether or not you can solve the riddle of the epitaph, not whether or not you can catch me. If you do not solve the riddle of the epitaph, the pitiful sacrifices will further increase in number. It would be more wise to spend your time solving the epitaph than searching for me. If none can solve the riddle of the epitaph, no one will survive. If a person appears with skill enough to solve the riddle of the epitaph, I will give them all the gold of the Golden Land, the Ushiromiya family headship, and all of my power. I was the one who succeeded the Ushiromiya family headship from Kinzo-sama, and I look forward to seeing who will receive the headship from me. Beatrice the Golden. This riddle of the epitaph was that thing. That strange epitaph written in the same place as the portrait of the witch displayed in the hall of the mansion. Grandfather was the one who ordered that it be written, and the person who solved it would supposedly be given the family headship or the hidden gold or something like that. Ever since it was first displayed there several years ago, all the relatives, despite making fun of it in the open, had been secretly secretly been challenging that riddle in private, probably. However, up until today, no one had solved it. We had once again been told to solve that unintelligible riddle, and this time we had been threatened that if we didn't solve it, we would all be killed. If this wasn't a game, what would you call it? The bold opinion that we should search the premises for the culprit did come up once. However, there was a good chance that they were armed, and there wasn't necessarily only one of them. And while they might have been able to kill more than 6 people, they had stopped at 6. In the end, the opinion that we should avoid carelessly antagonizing the culprit and hole up in a safe place while we waited for the police to arrive won out. After the adults had carefully checked that the doors and windows in the guest house were locked, they set up camp in the lobby. And as they fingered their guns to distract themselves from the tension, their expressions showed that they were already fatigued from this long day, which had still barely begun. There was nothing that I could do. Now all I could do was be taught how to use a gun to prepare for the off chance that something would happen which led to an excess of guns. That's the way. Just obediently stay there, me and the rest of you.
また最初は6人か。しかも今回はじい様と使用人が全部まとめてときたもんだ。
おそらくあの子は前回のゲームでのあなたの指し手を慎重に研究したのでしょう。そしてあなたが最初に疑うと高い確率で推定される駒を最優先で奪ったに違いありませんよ。
筋だな。前回も前々回も屋敷に精通しマスターキーを持ち歩く使用人たち全員は常に最高順位で疑わしい人物だった。前回のゲームの例えばジェシカの密室がいい例だ。使用人が犯人であることを認めさえすればあんなのは密室でも何でもない。
故にあの子はそこを真っ先に切りに来た。あなたがやがて逃げ込むであろう退路を真っ先に塞ぎに来たのでしょ
う。ベアトはすでに赤でこの島には19人以上いないと宣言している。それはつまり諦めろってことだ。もう俺は18人の誰かを疑わざるを得ない。
あの子はその18人の駒を全て奪い切った上で存在しないはずの19人目として降臨し、あなたに自らが魔女であることを認めさせる手で来るでしょう。 魔法を見せつけることで強引に屈服させる恫喝的手法がもはや通じない以上、あの子にさせるのは成功法だけなのですから。
上等だ。もうハッタリは通用しねえぜ。
気をつけて。まやかしは魔女の最も得意とするところ。あの子が何を言おうと何を見せようと、あなたが信じる真実を決して脅かすことなどできないのです。それを忘れないで。
お、そう何度も同じ手が通用してたまるかってんだ。出てこいよ、ベアトリーチェ。おっ始めようぜ。
すでに勝負のテーブルに着席しておるわ。わらわの手番もすでに終了しておる。
マダムを敵に回すことになるとは厄介ですね、お嬢様。手の内をだいぶ読まれますよ。
構わん。お師匠様の指し手などすでに時代遅れの古典よ。恐るるに足りぬわ。
あなたが私の教えた古典以上の何をさせるのか期待していますよ、ベアトリーチェ。
いいのか、バトラー。魔女を否定するそなたが魔女を軍師につけても。
くだらねえ挑発は無用だ。こいつは俺の相談役。いや、セコンドだ。ガチンコで殴り合うのは俺とお前だってことには何の変化もない。
分かっておる。よちよちのお前には自転車にも補助輪が必要だろう。好きにするがよい。さあ始めろ。お前の出番だ。
事件現場の再構築から始める。
Right. Battler got a new ally to even the odds a bit. I feel like with this setup, they're now gonna dive into the stuff like it seems that he is gonna. And I would feel like not doing that right now. Maybe it like, yeah, we're refreshed, we recovered ourselves, we had a pep talk given to us by someone who doesn't really exist, but whatever. And we're out to get it next time. Yeah? Yeah. I'm glad that you agree. So we will jump into that next time, because for today it's enough. It's enough. Oh, that's been a lot. Oh. Wait, I keep forgetting how to exit this game. I guess I have this reflex of pressing escape, like so many other games, to bring up the menu, but it doesn't do that here, so it's just every end of stream I do it. The muscle memory be strong, he'd be very strong. Alright. Here we are. Nope, actually not this one. This one. There we go. Yeah, I hadn't scrolled high enough in my list of overlays. Every episode of this chapter from here on will be amazing. Okay. Okay. Aww. Oh man, that's so sweet. We went from fate battles to Schrodinger's cat box. It's like every VN ever written. I guess so. I guess so. It's a classic experience. Okay. I think it was a good setup. I'm ready for it. I want my mind to be blown. And I want Badler to please, for the love of God, don't not give up so easily. Just find your ground and stand on it. Just stand, you know, up high, forehead high. It's not like anyone's gonna come and lift it up for you. You have to do it yourself, man. Okay. Yeah, I was about to say she probably meant every chapter of this episode, but I let it slide because I understand what she means. It's okay. For a moment, I thought I was too tired and read it wrong, but I reread it a couple times, and yeah, I think I understand what she means. Yeah, he probably mean like the bits and pieces that are gonna come afterwards, following from this, are gonna be cool, and I agree. I feel it. Like the setup has been done, and yeah, we're ready to dive into it, and I'm excited to discover that because I really hope there's gonna be something that like breathes some fresh air into the whole setup that has been established so far, because I'm kind of getting like sick and tired of it. I want to take a different direction here, and it seems that predecessor Beatrice or Virgilia managed to do that. So, or to set Battler up for that kind of mindset. And yeah, let's go. I want to see. Every season of this part is great. All right. No chapters there. Okay, I see. I am, to this day, whenever you mention something about like different versions and like how something was in one and wasn't in another, just like it blows my mind in how many ways this novel could possibly be experienced. Maybe the third main character of the novel will show up and help Battler out. The third main character. Ooh, okay. Okay. I don't know what to make of that. I guess I'll just sit here tight and await. Bern is already had it. She is for sure. Yeah. Oh, my light looks so weird in the background. Maybe I should brighten it up a bit. Yeah, but when I brighten it up, it becomes like overly saturated. Weird. Anyway, this is the last month of this setup behind me. At some point there will be something else, possibly starting with the blank wall and then working our way through it. Yeah. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be but this is also what makes this month just... It's gonna be a killer month. So many things to do in so many directions. But hey, I have Tuesdays and Thursdays to come here and not think about it. And just kind of seclude myself from reality and dive into the novel with you. So yeah, I appreciate you being here to do just that tonight, as well as you have done in the past. You are absolutely lovely, and I love all of your comments and our banters about things and your takes on it. And thank you so much for trying to lift me up, especially when I feel lost. It means a lot. I honestly still, after how many streams is this? This is 24. This is number 24. After 24 streams, I still have no idea what I'm doing. At least that's how it feels. But I'm definitely a lot more reassured having you by my side. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Have a nice weekend. And I will see you again Tuesday. We might have to take a brief break somewhere towards the end of the month, by the way. I should introduce that. It depends on how the moving goes. But I will announce it, I will schedule it, and then I will be back. It's not gonna be a long one, and we will dive right back into this. Think about something cute like locker room mothers and stuff. Yeah. For sure, they will haunt me for the rest of my life. Alrighty. Yeah, for now, I say goodnight. Thanks again for coming by. And if you manage to, see you next time. Love you.